a cause has gone on so long as this one has, people develop an investment in its perpetuation. There are 10,000 NGOs in Ramallah now. That means 10,000 organizations which are paid for by foreign countries, mostly European, to facilitate the peace process. And if you're in an NGO, compared to the salaries of ordinary Palestinians, it's quite good. Ramallah is a pretty impressive lifestyle now. And so you develop a stake in perpetuating the situation. And so you don't even want to think about realistic solutions because part of you doesn't even want it to end. I mean, I have to admit myself, let's say it ended tomorrow. What will I do?
So that was Ollie Annisfeld from the channel JTV, and what he's saying is absolutely true. If you know anything about Norman Finkelstein, then you know that he's a smart guy. He's a bright guy. There's no denying that. And he clearly has some affinity, let's say, for academia. I mean, otherwise, why would you go into that field? Of course, if you think you're going to profit financially because you publish a book, it's going to get a lot of sells and reads and visibility, that sort of thing. Like, yeah, you could always, as I've put it, weaponize the academia and platform yourself by use of the academic world to basically spread your own agenda, and whether you mean to or not, spread propaganda. So Norm is about, 70 years old? And the way I see it, he's got three choices now. He could A, double down, as I'm sure if he's bright enough, which I think he is, he knows the reality in Palestine, in Israel. Bibi Netanyahu is no different from Ismail Haniyeh. He's just not as wealthy, unfortunately. He's just as corrupt, and the reason he would be dragging out this war now that's been going on in Gaza for the last now 7 months is simply because he's trying to prolong his potential prosecution and maybe sentencing for corruption charges. So obviously he's got his own agenda. He's been on and off in power for the last 12 years or so. So this is obviously this is an exclusive situation to Netanyahu. And so you have people like Khaled Mashal, Ismail Haniyeh, who have just enriched themselves by use of the rest of the world. They've exploited the UN, UNRWA, and all the nations, including the United States, who have given money to support Gaza. Where do you think that money's going? You think it's going to the 2.1 million suffering Gazans? Not at all. It's going directly to Hamas. And so Finkelstein knows this. So choice A is he doubles down, and even though he knows the situation, he knows how people are selfishly, intentionally perpetuating the so-called 76-year-old long conflict, it's a bunch of nonsense. So choice B, don't worry, we'll get to choice C, it's the best choice. Choice B is Norm is going to totally radically do a 180 and change his mind, and then he's going to come out publicly and state he no longer supports a sovereign Palestine. He doesn't support this whole Free Palestine nonsense movement, and he thinks that Israel deserves the kind of support that other people, other Jews, non-Jews alike, are giving it. And so he'll change his mind. He'll start supporting Israel. Probably not going to happen. So choice C, and this is my favorite, it's my recommendation to you, Mr. Finkelstein, is retire. Why not? It's not too early. You can continue to write, you can continue to do the things that you're passionate about, but book an Airbnb somewhere for a week. go travel in places you've never been to. My guess is you haven't seen half of the United States. I just have this, there's this thought in my head that you don't get out very much. Of course, I could be very wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that. But, you know, go to Yellowstone, go to Cape Cod, go to places, you know, that you either have never been before or you have been and you haven't been there in a long time. Go enjoy your life. Like, there are bigger, better things to be prioritizing, to care about, you know, in this life than to just be so extremely insistent upon certain things about Palestine or Israel when it comes to you and your own agenda. So I think Ollie brings up a good point in this video, because I have an essay that I've written. It's about like a 5-page paper on Finkelstein, but it's not exclusive to him. It's using him as an example of one of many people who basically just spread their own agenda and use propaganda as a means to persuade other people and basically have them just become sheep. And now your new job is sheep herder, and you're rounding up all of these same like-minded sheep that are just going to follow you wherever you go. So, time for a vacation, I think, Mr. Finkelstein. That's my advice to you.